But by the way, many researchers believe that this idea of the red heifer is tied to paganism, because the Egyptian god Set, which is a god of sun, disorder, storm, or whatever, when they used to offer him red animals as sacrifices. So many researchers and historians actually believe that there's a tie link, that they kind of made this idea Jewish in a way and introduced it into the tradition from pagan teachings and beliefs. Right? I just thought I had this idea. Now, they have a problem. They have like a kind of a circular reasoning that is happening here. Why? How do we conduct? But let me add like an interesting, very interesting bomb here, right? When is the sacrifice happening? When do you sacrifice the red heifer? It's very important. What is the date? The date is the second of Nisan. Nisan is a month in the Jewish calendar, right? In the Hebrew calendar. So when is going to be the next time? When is the second of Nisan, for example? It changes every year. It can be in March or April, because we know the year, the number of days in the year is not like the number of the days in the year in the Gregorian calendar, so it can change. But the second of Nisan in this year is the 20th of March. It's coming up. The 20th of March is the second of Nisan, and where they actually do this specific sacrifice to the red heifer. But they have a secular problem here. Why do I say that this idea refutes kind of Judaism in a way? I'll tell you why. Because they cannot enter the temple without being pure, right? In order for them to be pure, they need to do what? Sacrifice the red heifer.
Yeah.
In order for them to sacrifice the red heifer, they need to do the ritual. What is the ritual? The ritual is you got to get these priests. They need to purify themselves, and then they need to come, and then they need to slaughter, right, this cow, and then you have the ashes, and then mixing it with water. But the teaching says that the priests and the people become impure after that tradition, which would mean what? They need to be pure before that ritual is done. So if all of them are impure now, who is going to do the ritual?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, that's the secret reason I'm saying.
Yeah.
So for them to be pure, they need to do the ritual. But for them to do the ritual, they need to be
pure. Do they give an excuse to that? Do they have an excuse?
Yeah, let me tell you some funny stories. So one of the funny stories is they said, okay, let's go to this place where there's like a high hill or a rock or whatever, and let's build this place. Why is a high hill or a rock or whatever? Because we make sure under it there is no grave. Because we said about being on top of grave or visiting graves or whatever makes you impure, right? So they said like a high hill or whatever, and let's build this house or this place or this bubble. And within this bubble, let's bring children of priests, because they only have to be priests conducting these.
You're saying like Jewish priests?
Yeah, I'm talking about Jewish ones. Yeah, I'm
talking about okay. Ones. I didn't know that priests were even called that, and there's even Jewish.
Yeah, if you want to, I mean, priest is just an English word. I mean, you can use rabbi, you can use priest, you can use whatever term you want to use, right?
Okay.
But they have a form of priesthood in their tradition. Yes. So you need to be that to conduct that ritual. So what they said, okay, let's make this bubble and let's bring children. Children obviously haven't visited the grave, haven't seen it, and they have to be from the lineage of these priests, right? They're from the children of priests or whatever, because only them can do it. And then let's put them there, and then we wait for them to get like in an age where they can throw the splash the water or whatever, and then we get a priest to conduct the ritual, and then they mix the ashes with the water, and then they throw it at the people. But they still have a problem, because the priests who are conducting the ritual, who's going to do the entire ritual with the cow, they also need to be pure, even if the children are the ones who are going to spray. Because you have people like Maimonides, talking about the greatest scholar in their history, the second Moses, Maimonides, is of the belief that they all have to be pure to do this. Right? So they said, let's do this crazy idea. They said, okay, let's do the crazy entire idea and just leave them in this bubble out of the entire planet or world until they grow and they become priests, and then they sacrifice the cow. And then they mix the water, and then they make everyone else.